Hey tennis fans, I'm Blair Henley and welcome to Tennis Now Instructionals. Today we're going to be talking about the backhand slice. Now, the slice gets a little bit of a bad rap because people think it's a purely defensive shot or a shot you only hit when you don't know what other shot to hit. And that's true sometimes, but if you can learn to work your slice to your advantage, it is going to change your tennis game for the better. But I will say it's not the easiest shot to coach, so today we're just going to stick to the basics. First thing, let's talk about the two biggest issues I see on the backhand slice. If you can get rid of these to start, you're starting off on the right foot. First thing, people hear the word slice, and that means chop. Does not mean chop, but that's a lot of times what people translate that to be. We want to stay away from this downward motion like this. We also want to make sure you're not coming underneath the ball like this. Both of those things are going to create a ball that kind of floats over to your opponent's side nice and easy. You might as well wrap it up in a little bow form. So we want to stay away from that. Second thing, I see a lot of people start off really well, but instead of having a nice long hitting track out to their target, they swing around their body like this. You may get maybe 1 out of 10 that works that way, but it's not going to be consistent, it's not going to be reliable. So let's get those things out of the way now. What do we want to focus on? First thing, let's talk about the grip. My backhand slice grip is pretty similar to my forehand volley grip, and that's to say it's pretty much a typical continental grip. The best way for me to describe that to you would be, you see this flat panel on my racket here? I'm just gonna make a V with my thumb and forefinger over that top panel. But again, that's just a guideline. If it's further, a little further this way, a little further that way, probably not a huge deal, but that gives you a foundation. Next, let's talk about the backswing. So here's my backswing right here. You'll notice a few things. My racket head is about shoulder height, maybe slightly higher. Now, you don't want to be thinking about geometric angles when you're out playing tennis, but it is about a 45-degree angle here. And the way that you're going to keep it there is by using what I like to call my wingman hand, my non-dominant hand. It's going to support your racket until it's time to follow through. And the reason why this is so important is because if you start your racket up too high, that's when we're going to get the chopping. If you start too low, that's when you're going to be coming underneath the ball like this. And remember, we want to get rid of that, right? Next, you can see that in order for me to see the other side of the court, I have to look over my shoulder. If you don't have to look over your shoulder, you're not turning enough, and it's as simple as that. The turn is so important. That's where you're going to get your power from, and it's going to allow you to stay on the hitting track out to your target. Finally, you want to make sure you keep that elbow elevated. And again, it's the same concept. If it drops, that's when you're going to see that chopping motion. So that's the backswing. What are we going to focus on with the follow through? So from here, here's my follow through. You notice a few things here too. I throw my non-dominant arm back. That is so helpful not only for balance, but it's also going to prevent me from coming around the ball like this. It's real hard to separate your arms and come around this way as well. So it's a great way to kind of break that habit if this is your tendency. But probably the toughest thing about the follow through is people aren't sure what should happen with the racket head from here to here. Now I'm gonna throw out an analogy for you. Stick with me, it's gonna sound a little hokey, but I like to think about a big stick of butter right here in front of me. And I'm gonna take my racket, it's my butter knife in this case, and I'm gonna skim just a little piece right off the top, and I'm gonna come back out on the other end. I'll let you see it again. So here, skim that little piece up the top, and coming out on the other end. And you see, my racket never disconnects from my arm. It's staying connected all the way through, and that's all you need. Now, sadly, that's not how I cut my butter in real life. It's more like cut a hunk off the end, but that's a story for another day. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of a visual though. A little sliver. Remember, if you had your knife and you were cutting straight into the butter, it would stick, right? Skimming nice and smooth right through the top. And then finally, you can have the best technique in the world, but if you're not using your body, it's not gonna mean anything. You're gonna engage two major muscle groups with the slice. The first is gonna be with your back muscles. When I'm winding up right here, I actually feel a pull in my back muscles back here. That's what's gonna give me that initial push into the ball. So really make sure you're engaging your back muscles. And then of course, you need to make sure you're using your legs. For me, I'm loading up on my back leg and I'm exploding forward into that ball. That is how much you need to be using your legs on the slice. Again, if you're not going into the slice with an aggressive mindset, going at it with conviction, you're gonna end up being that person who only hits the slice in the defensive situations. I want you to go at it and be able to hit it as an offensive shot, and this is what you're gonna need to do to get there. I'm gonna hit a few just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about. So when are you gonna hit a slice? The slice is great on really low balls. It's also great on high, deep, heavy balls because it allows you to step in, take it right in your strike zone, using minimal effort and really using your opponent's pace. Believe me, it's a lot easier than hitting a backhand above your head or scooching back so you can get it right in your strike zone. Slice is so great for those high, deep, heavy balls. And honestly, it's great just to mix it in every once in a while, especially if you have a good drive backhand. That slice, mixing that in occasionally, can really mess with your opponent's rhythm, and that's always a good thing, right? I will say one thing, if you're gonna go out on the court to practice your backhand slice, I recommend starting off aiming down the line. The reason for that is the net's a little bit higher, and it also forces you to keep that hitting track out to your target. On the cross-court slice, you can get away with a little bit of cheating. You can come around a little bit like this. We want to stay away from that, and believe me, if you can hit that nice deep down the line slice, you're going to have no problem with the cross-court slice. So go out on the court, give it a try, let me know how it goes in the comment section, and we'll see you next time here on Tennis Now.